Hello, in this PixaFlux video tutorial I'll show you how to create the textures for this snake plant. From an OBJ file exported from Blender, we'll create an image with the UV borders. We'll use this image to deform the dark stripes and add the yellow borders. Add bump and roughness details. Blend them with the leaf texture and stripes. Mix and adjust for roughness, and mix and convert to normal. In a new project, add a new scene. Load the file Leaves.obj. Turn on the UV display and set the size to 2048 by 1024. This OBJ has the two sides of 7 snake plant leaves. Add a mesh components node. Set the component to UV borders. And set padding to 0. To set the size of multiple nodes, we'll use a frame node. Set the size to 2048 by 1024. Expose the frame attribute of the mesh components node. And connect the nodes. The mesh components node renders the UV edges with their index as a value. We'll use a value condition node set to different than minimum to render all borders with a value of 1. For the black stripes, we'll use a checker node. Expose and connect the frame. Set the vertical size to 40 and 15. And set the colors to render stripes. We'll warp the stripes with a Perlin noise image. Set frequency to 64 by 32. And check auto level and the seed. Add a warp node and connect the Perlin noise as height. Set amount to 30 and samples to 8. To curve the stripes, we'll create a displace image from the UV borders. Add a bleed node and set iterations to 20. Uncheck seamless. Add a blur node and set size to 80. With a value clamp node set to 0 and 1, we'll shape the values with an arc profile. Add a displace node. Connect the borders to Y. And displace the stripes. For the leaf colors, we'll use a Perlin noise. Set the frequency to 128 by 64. Octaves to 8. Check auto level. Range low and high. And set the seed. We'll use this Perlin image as the mask in a blend node. Set the background color. Set the foreground color. And use another blend node to add the stripes. Set mode as multiply and set the opacity. Now let's add the yellow borders. Duplicate the bleed node and set iterations to 10. Duplicate this Perlin noise and set frequency to 32 by 16. Modify the seed. Add a warp node to deform the borders. And set the amount. Use a blur node to soften the borders. For the border color, duplicate the blend node. Set the background color. Set the foreground color. and use a mask node to add opacity to the yellow image. Blend the yellow borders with the leaf image. Now let's add some darkness to the individual leaves. Add a UV mesh render node and connect it to the frame. Add a job for each leaf object. And set the colors from 0.2. And with a curves node, adjust the color range. And blend multiplied with the leaves image. Now let's add grooves for the leaves with a waves texture, mapped by an image that follows the leaves. The Mesh UV Grid node creates an image that finds and renders grids in the UV mesh. Add a waves node. Set frequency to 64 and 0 in Y to create only vertical waves. With a curves node, make the grooves narrower. And with an image map node, we'll map the groups to conform to the leaf shapes. Now use a Perlin noise of frequency 30 and 15. And a warp node to deform the grooves. Convert this image to value. To finish the roughness texture, let's mix some of the images we have. Convert the black stripes to a value image. Add a blend node and connect the Perlin noise and the black stripes. Set to multiply and lower the opacity. Add another blend node to mix the groups with a low opacity. Add a curves node to adjust the roughness values. Convert the leaves flat image to value. And blend them with the roughness image with a multiply blending mode. For the normal map, we'll start with the Perlin and stripes image. Add a blend node and connect the grooves image. Set it to multiply and set the opacity. Convert this image to normal from height. Set the filter and lower the multiply value. Now that we have the albedo, roughness and normal textures, let's add a second set of black stripes to show how fast it is to iterate with PixaFlux. Make room for the new nodes. Duplicate the checker node. Set the vertical values to 20 and 5. Set the vertical values of the original checker to 40 and 10. Blend these two images with a multiply mode. Connect to the warp node. These are the new black stripes. We can make them a bit darker. And all images get updated as soon as we set their nodes as display. Save the images. and update them in Blender. This is how you can create textures using mesh objects as image sources in PixaFlux. Thank you for watching this video tutorial. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us in Twitter and Instagram.